Well, hey there, Jackclone here, coming to you with 5 advanced and beginners building techniques that should and can be used in in-game scenarios. The first on the list here is the Beak's 2-layer ramp rush. This is typically what it looks like, doing it a little slow just so you can kind of get the gist of it. So here you can see that it does build 2 layers of ramps, no walls involved. Typically that's why it is called the 2-layer ramp rush. Beaks didn't really have a name for it, but just for memory's sake, that's what I call it. Now this is a lot better than the traditional 20 mat wall ramp. Wall ramp is really heavily used. No one uses the Beaks 2-layer ramp rush, and I'm trying to change that. So first, the advantages of the Beaks 2-layer ramp rush is it offers more protection than the traditional 20 mat wall ramp. Let me show you here. So we'll throw up a Beaks, and then I will come next to it and throw up a wall ramp. Okay. So both ramps take the same amount of mats to build, 20 mats per level. So the cons of the wall ramp are 1-layer protection at most angles. Okay, if anybody's under you, they shoot three bullets at your ramp, you fall down. If they are pushing you directly, I'm getting in the middle of both of these more or less. If they're pushing you directly, still at most angles, and they can at least shoot the last ramp you're on. Here, they can shoot the last ramp you're on, but if they do shoot that one, you fall down to the ramp below it. If they shoot the ramp below it, you still have your top ramp and you can move back down on your ramp. So, let me show you a little bit more about the Beaks compared to any other ramp rush that you can do. So you can also do a 2-wall or 2-ramp with no wall. That takes the same amount of mats. Again, offers 1-layer protection guaranteed from any angle. Although they do have to shoot 2 down, still not that difficult to do. You can do a double wall, double ramp. Now this takes 40 mats, and I haven't mastered that really, so it's a little choppy, but I don't really use that because it's not as good as the Beaks. So this, they may have to shoot down 4 pieces, or just 2 depending on the angle, but even then, that costs 40 mats per level, and that's just a lot more concentration to build rather than just running straight and building 2 floor pieces. So with that being said, the last advantage, big advantage of the Beaks, I would say, is you can put walls anywhere throughout the Beaks ramp rush. Anywhere. I just chose the top for this instance. And this offers more protection. I like to put a wall just at the very top of it for this next reason specifically. So if you do get shot down, both layers of your ramp don't go at the same time if you put a wall at the very top. This wasn't mentioned in Beak's video, but I did a lot of this ramp rush just so I could master it, because I saw how good it is. Yeah, mastered as I missed that. But Beaks did not mention this. I'm not sure if Beaks knew about it or didn't know about it. But that offers another layer of protection. In the instance that if you do get shot down, it gives you more than enough time to run down your ramp to get lower, possibly to save yourself from dying from fall damage, depending on how high up you are. And on top of that, if you have bouncers, it's really hard to practice with brick because you can't see. But if you have bouncers, which in this case I do have bouncers, okay, let's go ahead and shoot down 1 layer here. Okay, go back to the top. Now I'm pretty high up. Typically at a ramp rush of this level, you're probably dead from fall damage if you get shot down. So I'm all the way over here. it still gives you more than enough time to put a bouncer down. I wasn't even on the ramp, I was next to it. One more thing before we get into the Nikkei 30 triangle 1x1. I forgot to mention this about the beaks, that depending on what layer of the ramp gets shot down first depicts on how it breaks. So in this instance, I will be shooting from the bottom, breaking the bottom ramp, and then the top ramp, and that makes the top ramp break first. Okay. And then, if you break the top ramp down to the bottom, it breaks the bottom ramp first, and then the top ramp. This is something to keep in mind when you're in combat, so you know exactly how much time and what level of altitude you are at. This can easily be said that the last piece of material to get broke is the first one to break. So if you break the bottom layer, the last, then the bottom layer is going to break first. If you break the top layer last, the top layer is going to break first. So Nikkei's 30's triangle 1x1 is definitely the most advanced technique on this video. It was initially designed for PC users, and I made some tweaks to it to make it a little easier for console users. I will initially show exactly what Nikkei 30 did. So Nikkei 30 would edit two sides of this triangle and pretty much turn it into, you know, a staircase. Back when Combat Pro came out, how people edited the staircase to make ramps out of it. That's how he did his. Now this is a little bit more difficult for console users because it's just not as fast as editing on consoles. So what I did was just started editing one corner of it just to make it a bit easier for console users. As I said, this is definitely the most difficult on the list here. It took me a little while just to get to the point where I'm at in doing it. I have used it in a few in-game scenarios, but it definitely took a lot of practice. I practiced for quite a few hours so far just to get where I'm at. So I'm gonna do it in slow motion here, just to start it off, and then I will show you a little faster version of it. So when I'm practicing it, I like to make it a level ground like this. So I build a wall, I build a ramp, and then put a flat piece on top of it. So you start off by building your four walls as you would with the regular 1x1. You want to put a triangle piece below you and a triangle piece above you. Okay. For console, edit one corner, go up about halfway on the ramp, and build your four walls around you. You want to go up to the peak that you initially were walking towards and edit the corner of the triangle above you to point up. When you're about halfway up the first triangle, you want to look up and build another triangle piece on top of the second layer of four walls that you built. Go up to the corner, reset your triangle piece, edit the opposite piece, or edit any one of these corners here, just so it turns into this shape here. I like to do it across, it just feels a little easier for me. So again, you go middle, build your four walls, go into your triangle, edit at the peak so both peaks match up, put your triangle piece at the top of the second layer of ramps, go over to the corner, and edit any one of the circles. Again, I like to do the circle exact opposite of me. So you go four walls, there. As it messed up. Again, this is very hard. Four walls, there. Something about that. So let me start from the bottom, just so I can show you it in a little faster fashion. Again, I'm not perfect at it. This is a really hard technique, but it can be very, very useful. So here we are at the bottom, fresh start here just to show you what it looks like exactly. Obviously in a real game, you're not going to be able to start off on flat land, so you will need to make some adjustments. But I just wanted to show you what it looked like going a little bit faster here. And it is okay if you do edit too many squares. You know, even if you do keep it as a ramp, it's fine. You can walk up it the same exact way. So you're probably asking yourself, well, why would I use this triangle one by one? Why wouldn't I just use a regular one by one? So I recreated a scenario that I was in a couple days ago to where I used the triangle one by one in a real game scenario. So I had a guy over here using this metal base as, you know, his base where he was, sniping at me the whole time I was here. Now I didn't have a sniper, so it wasn't really too much I could do to fight back for him. So I just waited the circle out. The circle unfortunately landed on this mountain over here where that metal base is at. Now at the time nobody was up there and I knew I had to make the move before that guy did. There was probably 5 total other people left, including this guy over here. So I went out of my base. This was my base. Went out of my base. I started ramp rushing to this mountain here. Again, I didn't know there wasn't a guy here. I got to about this point, and I saw the guy peeking over the hill. So I immediately built my walls. I had to build a couple extra walls here because he was shooting at me at the time. I boxed myself in, and I just started ramp rushing him, or Nick 830 one by one. I got up pretty high, and this allowed me to take the high ground. Now at any point you can stop, you know, so if you're at like this elevation, you can definitely stop and just ramp over and get your high ground, such as that. But the reason I did a triangle one by one and I didn't just build like this is because I still had that guy behind me. So I didn't want to get sniped in the back while I was trying to get up this mountain, you know, pushing this guy, get sniped in the back or wherever the other people were. I don't even know where everybody else was at that time. So that's a really good way and a really good reason on why you would use that one by one in a real game scenario. Other than that, say you are, you know, last circle, you know, very last circle, well, not very last, but you know what, before it starts actually moving over rather than just enclosing, and you are on a mountain below a guy, and you already see his base up there, you do have 2 options. You can either, you know, double ramp up to him like this, and then build out, such as that, which is typically what everybody would do. But if you don't know where everybody else is at, and you don't want to leave your back open of sorts, just do the triangle. It's that simple. It's easy, just like that. Just triangle up to him. That way, you can still get your elevation, even if he is shooting down on you. Okay? Even if he is shooting down on you, you always have a triangle above you, which is like the whole point of this, is so you're protected the whole time you're building up. You have a triangle above you, and if need be, you can put a floor piece there also. So not only do you have a floor piece for coverage, but you also have your triangle. Now, if you do use a floor piece, if you don't break it fully when you start going back into your 1x1 scenario, you will have to edit 3 blocks in order to make your walls go all the way around. So here, let me show you this. So if you're here and you have a floor piece here, it doesn't even let you build any walls outside of this. So if you edit 2 of them, you can build walls there, build walls there, and sometimes that last wall won't go. So in order to just avoid it completely, just edit 3 corners of it, you know, and just resume where you were. And that about sums it up for the Nikkei 30 triangle 1x1. Like I said, this is the most advanced technique on the video, but it can be very, very helpful at the same time. So the next building technique that I have on the list is what I call the drop down. People also call it chutes and ladders. I call it the drop down because that's literally what you're doing, just dropping down. Very easy technique and a very useful technique. If you like it and you do want to, use it, if you go and playground and practice it, make sure you use a flat piece to start off with. You can do it off the side of the stair, which I will show, but it's just much easier if you start off with a flat piece. So literally all you do is drop down and you build. So where I have this floor piece here, you can use either a floor piece, a triangle, or a ramp. Whatever one you want to use. It doesn't look like that, but I will show all 3. So I typically use the floor piece just because it's most comfortable to me, in regards to my controller, and it's the safest way for me. When you're using the stair, which I will show you here, you have to worry about taking fall damage because it's not a flat surface. So you never really know how much damage you're going to take, if you do take damage. Every time I do it, I take damage, which is why I don't use it too often. So here I will show it using the stair. By stair, I mean triangle, I guess. So that's what it looks like using the staircase. A lot of people like the staircase because it has a little bit more surface area, but I'm not one of those people. And here I will show you what it looks like with the roof piece. By roof piece, I guess I mean staircase. And that is what it looks like with the roof piece. Depending on which shape you do use, it kind of depicts on how many extra walls get built. As you can see with the roof piece, it builds a bit more extra walls than the floor piece and the ramp. One of the main areas where the drop down can really be used is if you're in game and you had a really good build battle with somebody and you're up a really good altitude here. So if guy was over here, you were over here, you shotgun him, you kill him, you box him in so you can get the loot, and you start getting third party and someone's shooting your structure to kill you. If you don't have bouncers or a launch pad, it's going to be really hard to get down from here before they shoot your structure down and you die from fall damage. And this is where the drop down comes in. Because as you can see, it's kind of complex. Of course, you can make your way down there, sooner or later, but the drop down's a guaranteed way, a super fast way to get down. So all you do is just drop down. And here you are, you can even go on this level here. Dropping down would still probably be the faster way to go about it, rather than dropping down there. But all you do is drop down. You can get down from pretty much max height in a matter of seconds. And I just got down off that structure that fast. If I walk down the structure, just hopping down from piece to piece, figuring out where I can jump without taking fall damage, it'd probably take me every bit of 30 seconds to 45 seconds to get down from there. In a safe manner without taking fall damage.